It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew. Filling in today for Richard Chew. Here we go. Co-host of the family meeting, event planner, and champion for democracy, Michelle Peltier.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Yes, this is Michelle Peltier sitting in for our beloved Richard Chew here on Chew's Views. Welcome to Wednesday, April 9th. Thank you for joining me this morning. Hi, Henry.
Hello, hello.
We are running by the seat of our pants this morning.
Just a little bit, but
Yeah, just a bit. I had a pretty aggressive cab driver because he was running late because of traffic. And Richard said, make sure you leave a little early. And so I don't drive. It's not that I can't drive. I just don't drive. I don't have a car. And I'm a cab person. I'm not an Uber or Lyft person. I do that when I have to. But so I have a relationship with Flash Cab. Call them. They come get me up, come pick me up, and we're going. So anyway, this morning I wanted to leave really, really early. So I called the cab at 4:30, and it didn't get there until I had to call them 3 times. Didn't get there till much later. So my cab driver was speeding down the highway, and I thought, I have to take a breath because I thought we were going to just, have a collision. We did have a little incident. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Don't forget, give us a call this morning at 773-763-9278. Be sure to catch us on Facebook Live, our Twitter stream, and TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud.com, and the Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. Okay. So let's get to it. Let's do some housekeeping. Later today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito's guests will include David Orr, former Cook County Clerk and founder of Good Government Illinois, John Lothian, author of the financial newsletter John Lothian News, and Suzanne Chad, professor of political science at North Central College, Live, Local, and Progressive. Weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years. And then tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be talking to Aaron Reese Bozeman, director of the Lifespan of Fact, the Chicago debut production of Elsinore, a theater ensemble. Don't we have great theater here in Chicago? It runs April 3rd through May 4th at the Anthean Center for Thought and Culture. Later in the show, Patty will be joined by Anita Pendur of the Are You Really Winning? Illinois Gambling Helpline, along with Mimi Sang, the Substance Abuse Use Gambling Bully Prevention Program Manager at Midwest Asian Health Association. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 Central on WCPT AM, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And you're so lucky, you guys who are tuning in this morning, because guess what? I'll be on the show, filling in for Richard again, taking your calls, and I'll have a guest, Woodstock Council member Natalie Ziemba. And Richard will be back on Monday. So you know what that means? You got me Friday, too. Okay. I'm a little calmer now. So, always taking calls, 773-763-9278. Listen, I am also a listener of Chew's Views. I just admire Richard so much and his passion and the way he kind of teaches us something new every day, and that he's in the fight, and I admire him about that. I have to tell you, though, that I don't marinate in this like I used to. after the election, I was just so disheartened that I just I had to kind of think about it a little bit, right? And just kind of figure out how I felt about everything, because I was just, I don't know. I still want to do my part, right? But I don't know what that looks like. Now, this is part of my part, obviously. Being on the air, it's a gift to be able to share your voice and your thoughts and your passions with people who have no idea who you are. Right? And I get it, right? I grew up, excuse me, listening to talk radio. That was my thing. I grew up, I listened to it with my father. My father had a Malibu, and we'd drive around in that little Malibu, and we'd listen to, I can't remember the station now, but it wasn't like it was now. We had a therapist on, there was sports, and then, of course, there was news, and there was politics. But so I get it. I get the relationship that everybody has with the people that they listen to. So I know that some of you are very disappointed this morning because Richard isn't here. It's okay. I understand. I absolutely do. I know when I listen to Tom Hartman and he's on vacation and he has that guy on, and he has a regular guy on, and he's good. He's actually really good. But I miss Tom. So I'm telling you, I'm letting you know that I feel your pain. But we'll get through it. We'll muddle through it, and we'll have some fun. Let's have some fun in the midst of all of the drama and the craziness and the absolute uncertainty. Wouldn't you say that life is uncertain, Henry? How are you feeling about all this?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm thankful that I'm not close to retirement right now. But, yeah, it's not looking great for that either. I'm not going to lie.
I know, because now you have time to figure it out, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, get a little nest egg.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the goal, but also,
Yeah.
We'll see, Future seems a little uncertain right now.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see. Do we have time? Can we take a little break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's take a little break and then we'll come back. Okay, 773-763-9278. Y'all call me, okay? We'll be right back.
It's Chew's Views. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's Michelle Peltier.
Welcome back. 773-763-9278. And catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and Heartland Signal. So, I want to talk a little bit today before we get our guests on before, and I'll tell you about them. I want to talk about the lying liars and the lying lies that they tell. So does that ring a bell to anybody? It's a title of a book that Al Franken wrote before he was in the Senate in 2009. And those of you who know Al Franken, if you know who he was before he was a senator, he was a comedian. And so he wrote several books. And excuse me, in fact, he needs to write one now. But this one was really good, really funny. It was also during the time when he was warring with Bill O'Reilly. Do it live! You remember that? Anyway, so that's what I kind of want to talk about today, because I mean, we could go a couple weeks talking about all these lies, right? It's crazy. So we're going to talk about some of those lies today, but I want to play a clip, and I'm waiting for Henry to get it. But while I'm waiting for Henry to do it, we got a call. Let's talk to Troy. Hi,
Hello,
Troy.
How you doing, Marcia?
I'm good, Troy. I'm great. How are you?
I'm I was doing bad. I heard your voice. Oh, wow, I feel good now.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I could help.
I feel good now. Michelle, what's Janae got rid of a lot of the vets, the Vietnam people, the people in the service? Did they fire a lot of those?
Did they fire people from the VA? Yes, I think that they did. Yes, I think they did.
A lot of them people been in service, right?
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of them people is upset, and them people in service, them people can they were trained to shoot a gun good, and they upset, and then it really ain't not gonna miss like this kid missed, I'm just saying, do they be thinking when they do something?
Well, listen, Troy, not only are they upset, but I'm sure that a lot of them are very scared right now. Not only people who are losing their jobs, but people who are losing their health care because they can't go to the VA because they can't get help.
Right.
Now, I know the VA has its issues. My father was a veteran, and, we went to the VA, but it's a service that's needed. Our veterans need it. Nobody should have to suffer when they're ill, especially after serving our country, right?
Right, you're right about that. And all I want to say, Michelle, and you know what I'm going to say, right? By jumping out of the airplane.
No, go ahead.
I told you before, I jump out of the airplane without a parachute for you.
Oh, look at you, Troy, getting all sweet in the morning, huh?
Yeah. I won't do it for Richard.
I wouldn't ask that of you. Thank you, Troy.
Okay, well, nice hearing your voice, okay?
Nice hearing your voice, too. Thank you so much for the call. I think my girlfriend's on the phone. Let me talk to my girlfriend. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Michelle. I am never disappointed when I hear your voice.
Oh.
I always love listening to you when you fill in.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. I hear you. As far as, dealing with the aftermath of the election. It was a heartbreak, and I think that was the biggest thing. I think we were all just completely heartbroken, right? And for me, it just felt like another slap in the face to women in general. And so, when your identity, too, is wrapped up in a candidate, it's an extra bit of pain. And it's for, frustration that we are still is racist, I guess, or
you guess
we are.
It is.
I guess that's the right word. Yeah, it is frustrating. It's frustrating. It's angering. It is that there's a group of people in this country that are, FAFO right now.
Yeah.
But it's almost a small. I mean, it's some consolation, but it's a small consolation because, to your point and the previous caller's point, people are being hurt, like really hurt. And, I have a brother who, invests in the stock market, and he's kind of taking, some joy in the fact that all these, that Elon Musk is losing so much money and all. And I said, yeah, but this is the thing. What's 50% of what?
$1 billion, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, what is 50%? That isn't life or death.
Yep.
For the rest of us, damage done. And, not everybody obviously has 401ks, but those that do, that, don't have tons of money that we're going to, hopefully be able to live relatively comfortably in their retirement.
Yep.
Those have been exponentially decimated, and then when you think about the people that don't have money in the stock market, these tariffs, they're not going to go away. And he can pause and he can, pull back and he can do all of these things that he thinks are going to help his big donors. But the reality of the situation is that the countries that he has imposed these tariffs that now have done retaliatory tariffs,
it's crazy.
They're going to be like, we don't trust you. So it is, regardless of anything that he does at this point, damage is done. And it is going to wreak havoc on our economy, which it already is. And, and for the majority of Americans, that is a real big concern and a real big problem, and is going to equate to life and death situations.
It's not equating. It's happening. People are already dying. But let me say something to you, Karen, real quick about. So I think my I come from a politically aware family, not active but aware, right? I was the activist in the family, and so I was excited. It was an honor for me to go vote for the first time, and and so I had a belief in this country that it would be fair if you worked hard enough, if you did everything you were supposed to do. And for me and my parents, it was to go to college, get a job, and make your contribution to the world. And this election told me that was a lie. Yeah. That I'm different, right? I'm not like you. And so I can do everything right, but I may or may not get what I earned, what I think I earned. And so that's why I'm still here in the sunken place. I just I'm just very disappointed in this country, and I don't know how we get out of it. I mean, I have an idea about what we can do, but nobody's going to take the time to do it.
Well, now how do you feel about the protests, though? I mean, I am taking some hope in the number of people that are finally being slapped out of their comas, thinking that just not paying attention, being disengaged, not joining in the defiance. I'm seeing people that didn't do it the first time around. Now they're out there. And I'm seeing, with the numbers that we saw, and I was very excited about it, but I also remember back to 2017 when that happened. And so I think the difference between then and now is we know the damage that this person can do, is doing, and in ways that he didn't do it right away the last time.
Oh my gosh. We're not even 3 months in.
Right. And people keep scratching their heads. Why is he doing this? Why? Because he's doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin, because he hates America. Because Donald Trump at his core is a toddler, emotionally a toddler. He has been rejected. He has been rejected because he thinks, and like so many of these, privileged white men, and if this is not you, I'm not talking about you. Okay, let me just say that. But these, who you are. These privileged white men that don't have to have the bona fides, don't have to have the credentials, are less than mediocre, having everything handed to them, and then yet our culture heaping upon them labels and adjectives that are not warranted. So that Donald Trump was a good businessman, that was wholly created by entertainment media. The idea that Elon Musk is a genius. No, he's not.
No, he's not. Neither of them are.
No, neither of them are. But yet we have this culture that conditions us to believe that just because people have money, that they're somehow better than us, and
or
then
smarter,
somehow
right?
Smarter than us.
Mm-hmm,
yes,
mm-hmm.
And that is not true. That is absolutely not true. And so it is. It's unfair. And I mean, I am pretty empathetic. And I have to say that I feel you. I mean, that to me is a heartbreak, and it is astonishing to me. What are we talking about?
I know.
We're talking about melanin.
I know. Well, honey,
what are we talking about? I mean, it's insane. It is insane that there are so many people that feel the way they do. For me, it makes no sense whatsoever. And that they walk around and say that they're Christian.
Oh,
and
please.
Yet, I mean, give me a break.
Haven't picked up a Bible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, now, last night, Rachel, and I'm limiting myself, but last night Rachel did this, little expose of Kristi Noem.
Tell me what she said.
Oh, my God. Is there somebody, I mean, she is just absolutely an evil person. Well, first of all, there's a possibility that her little ride-alongs and are going to amount to, if the courts are able to do what they can do, and who knows there. But if they're able to, then basically they can throw out everything. They can throw everything out because she's one of the prosecutors that are prosecuting these cases. And since she's riding around with them, they potentially could get thrown out.
Good.
But there's already damage done. That's acknowledging that there's already damage done. But here's the other. But just her to the core. What is she? She looks like first of all, she's cosplaying.
Oh my!
She looks like
everything,
a Real Housewife.
whatever hat she has on, literally is what.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for her to just stand up there, and she's got, and wear a cross, and stand in for those the photo ops in front of the El Salvadorian prison inmates that 75% per 60 Minutes say have no criminal records at all, have no records of anything.
My.
75%. I mean, the cruelty, it is absolutely disgusting.
And it's the point for them.
Yes, and that they wear that cross. Like they actually believe that crap.
Yes. No, actually, here's the thing, Karen. I think that the reason they're able to do those things and say those things so easily is because I think, and this is my opinion, that they don't believe at all. I think that's why they can do it so easily. Because if you really had some faith, if you really knew the Lord, I don't think you would be doing any of the things that this administration is doing. Not to get preachy.
I agree. No, but look at it. It's in the name, Christianity, Christ. Yeah. Christ is in Christianity. There is nothing about Christ or his teachings that indicate that anything that the Republican Party and their voters, how they conduct themselves and how they carry themselves in this world.
Come on, Karen.
It doesn't align. It doesn't align.
You know that the Bible is DT's favorite book. Come on now.
Oh, but only upside down and only if it has his name on it.
Right. But it's his favorite book, and he can't name his favorite passage because he likes all of them. The whole book is amazing to him. especially 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians walk into a bar. Oh, Karen, this was great. You and Troy made my morning because it was so crazy. Now, Karen, are you going to call in again on Friday? Are we talking on Friday?
Yes, I will. I did tell Richard that I'd be happy to make the drive-in if you want, but that's only if you want, and if you don't, that's fine, too.
I would love to see you. So. You get to pick.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think I will come in if that's okay.
Oh, good. Then I can give you some love. I can hug on you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, Karen.
And shout out to our good friend Natalie Ziamba.
I'm excited. She's going to be on tomorrow. Yay!
Yay! Anyway, well, thanks for taking my call. It's always good to talk to you,
Karen.
Michelle.
Okay, let's talk off the air sometime, shall we?
Yes, please.
All right. Have a good day. Talk soon.
Right. You too.
Bye-bye. I think we got a break for news or no?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because it's 6:29. Okay, we'll be right back after the news. Yay!
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's none other than Michelle Peltier.
I love hearing my name. I'm sorry. Just tickles me. Okay, welcome back. 773-763-9278. Call us so we can chat. Or look at us on Facebook Live, Twitter Stream, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. So I have some sad news. Unfortunately, tickets are sold out for our May 3rd anniversary broadcast at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. But we hope you'll tune in that day between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. to hear Hal Sparks, one of my favorites, Patty Vasquez, Scott Duff, Joan Esposito, and Richard Chu, all my favorites as well. Broadcast live with special guests. I'm supposed to say including me, but I guess I just said it right. The event is sponsored by Max and Benny's, Fazio Insurance, Smart 265, the Democratic Party of Kane County, and Southland Friends of Labor, Democratic Party of McHenry County, and McHenry County Democratic Women. Yes, be sure to visit our anniversary webpage where you can find details about the special broadcast and photo and sound galleries that track our 20-year history. Can you imagine that this radio station, this little radio station, has been around for 20 years? I think it's one of the last ones standing, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. We are very lucky here in Illinois to have WCPT. And I hope those of you that listen recognize what a contribution the station makes to progressives and democracy. Bill, hold on for me, okay? Because I want to do one thing, because I want to piggyback off of what Karen was saying when it came to the rallies this past weekend. I had a couple of thoughts. I did not participate. And if you looked at the crowd and paid attention, you saw that there were very few black people in those at those rallies, those marches. And let me tell you, I don't think in my lifetime I've ever experienced such cohesiveness within my community. There weren't any phone calls. There weren't any meetings about it. It was just kind of a real organic thing that happened. And black people said, you know what? We should kind of just not do it because, we've been doing it always. So I thought that was so interesting. And the other thing that I found interesting, and I'm actually grateful for these two things, and I'm talking to the white people who are listening today because this was so important. And Henry's going, woo, woo. I know what that means. I knew what that meant before you were even here. I got about 30 years on you, young man. But, white people started to ask the question, why? Not in an angry or an accusatory way, but in a sincere way of, I really want to know what's happening. Why are black people detaching from this? And it happened before this happened at the Super Bowl when Kendrick did the halftime show. I can't tell you how many white people I saw on social media going, I needed to look it up because I didn't know what was happening. And in those instances, I think you as a people learned a lot about black people that you may not have known before. And it goes to one of my personal mottos, changing the world one conversation at a time. And we can't solve anything unless we have honest dialogue with each other. But let's listen to clip one. Shall we, Henry?
So you're hearing that the hands-off April 5th protests yesterday were so peaceful and everything was great and there was no violence, no escalation, and that it was also predominantly white people white women. Here's the thing. Here's the really important point. It is not that the people who were in attendance yesterday, right, the predominantly white people, the predominantly white women, are inherently more peaceful and law-abiding, and they just know how to do it, right? That's not the reality, okay? It is because they were met with a different level of force, being none, like a lack thereof, as opposed to when movements are predominantly about and backed up by people of color, right? Queer people, especially black people, especially black women. They are met with a different level of force, not only by police, but by like random conservative militia groups that were showing up every single day at the BLM protests. Like, there is a stark difference, not in the way in which the protesters are protesting, but a stark difference in the way in which power and force and violence, especially state-sanctioned, is responding to the protests themselves. That has to be a very, very important distinction that we make, because this is not a failing of other movements. This is a failing of our police presence, of the militias, of the power and force and violent force therein. Ultimately, who gets to protest peacefully and who gets met with extreme and violent force is not due to the protesters themselves. It is far more a reflection of power and control rooted in racism.
See, and that's our whole problem, folks. That's basically it. I mean, those of you who are up now and listen to the Family Meeting radio show on Sundays with Air Grant, it's something that we talk about all of the time. And I just never really felt it as much as I did this time around. I mean, come on, I still get followed in grocery stores, especially when I would go to, I call it Whole Paycheck, Whole Foods, or when I go to Walgreens. To this day, I still get followed around in establishments. And it happens. It just happens, it's unfortunate that those are the kinds of things that we have to get used to, right? But it's part of it. But I don't know. This last time around, everything was just magnified for me in a way that I'm recovering, but I'm a different person on the other side of it. So, you guys call me, 773-763-9278. The lines are open. Shall we talk about the lies and lying liars and the lies they tell? My first one, and we've got guests the second hour, so get some calls in, people. There's so many I could pick, but I picked our defense secretary as my first example for so many reasons. But the main lie I'm going to talk about that he said was nobody was texting war plans. And, and what we used, nobody could,
Hey, Dan. All right, what are you here to talk about?
What do you call it? Hack it or whatever. I think the most interesting thing about that lie is that the entire administration seems to be backing him up, right? This is where we are, people. Mm-hmm. This administration no longer has any checks and balances. They just are doing whatever they want, however they want, because DT's not going to tell him. He doesn't need to fire people because he doesn't have, like I said, checks and balances. Everybody who's on that administration now, they're all the same, right? Have you heard the saying, water rises to its own level? Well, they're all the same. They're all crooks. They're all liars. A lot of them are pedophiles. They're misogynists. A lot of them are rapists. It's crazy. We have an administration full of debauchery. Okay, I think, I don't know what I did, but anyway. Dan. Hi, Dan.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
You know,
Go ahead.
Good,
I'm sorry.
Good. The sun's coming up. That's good. Looks good outside.
Yay.
Listen, I heard the last conversation. I really appreciate it. But, you know, it just disgusts me as well is that this is all done under the guise of Christianity. Mm-hmm. And it is so anti-Christ. It is so opposite of anything to do with the teachings of Jesus, you know.
Yep.
But my fear is, though, I think maybe this cause is lost. Maybe they've got us. I mean, it doesn't seem that they're not going to enforce any of the checks and balances if they're not going to, no matter what the courts rule, if the Justice Department won't do their job under this Pam Bondi, what can we do? I mean, they're...
Dan, you know what? I think about that all of the time because they're just saying no. I mean, when they flew those people to El Salvador and they're supposed to bring them back, they're not going to ever bring those people back. They just don't. They're just doing whatever they want. They don't care. And it's quite frightening.
And what I'm wondering is, you know, we're all saying, well, just wait till 2026. I wonder if that, I don't want to sound paranoid or ridiculous, but I wonder if it isn't already rigged where they know that, you know, that they've got it taken care of. I've never in my lifetime, I'm 66 years old, I have never seen anything like this. Not even close.
I haven't either, but listen I was thinking the same thing until this last election, with the Wisconsin election particularly.
Right.
Because if they were rigging like we think they are and can and will, they would have done it then. And so that gave me a little hope. So
yes,
hopefully that gives you a little hope too. Yeah. Because
this is...
Go ahead.
But this really is fascism. Mm-hmm. Read about Mussolini. Read about the early days of Nazi Germany. This marriage between the wealthiest and the government, and the fascist side, they will use religion as a way to justify what they're doing if it benefits them.
Because using that, people who may be religious or, you know, whatever, throwing God out there, Jesus out there, makes people, I think it makes people believe that you're on the up and up, because who's going to lie about their relationship with Jesus, right? Who would do that?
I think that, exactly. But, and, you know, I think there's a twisted view in Christianity, particularly some of the fundamentalism, this idea that, oh, yeah, you're supposed to be good and kind, but only to your own, only to those who
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, the scripture says we're to do good unto all men.
Right.
And anyway, I sure appreciate you filling in this morning.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate you calling. I'm here tomorrow and Friday, too, so feel free to call back.
Awesome. I'll be listening.
Great.
Take care.
Thanks, Dan. Have a good day. Let's talk to Pam. Hi, Pam. Pam?
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Pam. Thanks for your call.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for this honest discussion. There are many things to be said on this. I think, first and foremost, as a black person, I am upset with white people. Yeah. And I know I'm generalizing. These are my honest feelings.
I want you to let it out.
Yes, I am. Because almost 80% of black men, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to scramble around here and get out the house, 90% of black women, Democratic voters, voted for Harrison Walls. Mm-hmm. We voted for decency. We voted for intelligence.
Mm-hmm. We voted for the greater good.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Not perfection. We knew it wasn't perfection.
Right.
We know that the Democratic Party has issues.
Lots of them.
We know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But see, at least we don't fall in line. At least we're free to express ideas and push back and forth.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to kowtow. So let me go back to my original statement. Yes, I am upset with white people. And here's what white people need to understand. Maybe you might want to extend some grace to black people. Not that we're asking for it, but you should have an understanding of why we're so upset.
I think it's happening. I think especially because there wasn't a visible presence at the marches and the rallies. Mm-hmm. I think that it's giving white people pause. I know that I have many white people in my life who I love and adore, and we're on the same page, right? So they went out Saturday, and they were quite clear about why I wasn't going with them.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so there has to be understanding. But also, let's look at those who support Trump. There are white people who supported Trump who are upset because they can't openly say, I didn't want a black person and I didn't want a black woman.
Right.
They are upset that they can't. So it was the cost of eggs, and it was the price of all of this, and it was the immigrant. They're upset. And I'll leave you with this, Michelle. Mm-hmm. Everybody has to be out. And I'm talking about all cultures, all religions.
Absolutely right.
Let me just be specific about this, because when you make these kind of statements, people want to label you anti-Semitic, but I'm not buying it. But what I'm asking is, the Jewish people and their ancestry, they experienced their Holocaust. Just as black people enslaved, we experienced our Holocaust. They know what this Hitler-loving person in the White House is doing. They know he's a fascist. His generals said that he's a fascist. He asked, why aren't my generals more like Hitler?
I know.
You have those who did the salute. Now, I've tried to contact the ADL on this because I'm not hearing enough from Jewish leaders, business leaders, rabbis, and from the Jewish community on this. Now, notice I said I'm not hearing enough. There is some. Mm-hmm. They should be front and center on this.
You know what?
See what he is doing. So I'm trying to get answers, Michelle. So I'm contacting Jewish organizations, because you're not going to say Pam is anti-Semitic and I'm blaming the Jewish people. Not doing that.
No,
but I'm holding you accountable.
Right. I think that they are in lockstep with us, but I do agree with you that we should hear more from them. Just being out there, just being vocal about it. I do agree with that. But I do think that I do think that they are in solidarity with us. I do believe that.
Absolutely, I agree, because there's a history. Mm-hmm. We had an alliance there, so there's a history. Yeah. So for everybody not to speak out against what's happening in this country, it is really shameful. 3.4 million voters, Democratic voters, purged from the rolls. I'm not going to let that go. That's the margin of victory for Harris and Wall.
Yep.
I'm not letting that go. But most importantly, Michelle, I'm not going to give up, and we can't give up this fight.
Oh, Pam,
we need to
I love you. Thank you.
Hard. Yes, thank you.
All right, Pam, you have a great day.
You too.
I'm here the rest of the week. All right, let's talk to Terry. Hi, Terry. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Michelle?
I'm great.
I see that red nose.
I can't see myself today.
Yeah, I see that red nose. You look like my sister. I just wished I could be there to give you a hug, because I know what you're feeling.
Thank you.
And I'm 72, and I understand.
I'm glad you do.
I'm thankful that our parents raised us the way they did, even in spite of everything, our ancestors and what we go through every day of our lives.
Yeah.
But we can't expect them, other people, to understand, because they've not lived in our shoes. Okay?
Yes, I want them to at least empathize with it, though, right? And you can't even do that if you don't know the history and don't appreciate it.
Exactly. And another thing of it is, I was praying that we wouldn't be out there, because I felt like if we were out there, then that would give them a reason to call martial law or whatever that stuff is.
It's funny that
I didn't want our people to get hurt.
I know. We were all unified when it came to that. It was amazing to me, and it was all organic. I just loved it.
Yeah, but you know what is also disappointing, but I understand the wherefores or whatever you want to call it, of why I turned to every channel. I don't have cable. It wasn't on the television the way it should have been. This was something historical that was actually happened. You know, they've not seen that really for this purpose before. And it's like, why isn't it on television? Well, I know, because the media, corporate media, for-profit media, is controlled for profit. And that's not what they wanted their people to show. The TV pushes the narrative. I don't watch television. I listen to the radio. I was kind of getting upset this morning because I couldn't find you on. I said, "Now this is where I ain't not seeing her." You know. No, but hon, I wished I could give you a hug.
You can give me a virtual hug. Thank you.
I tell you, but I feel you, because it was like, can't people see that we're for people? We're not for color. We're for people.
The greater good.
We're not trying to get more that you are.
Right.
We're for all of us.
Because there's enough for everybody, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
In abundance. Let's be clear. In abundance. I'm not talking about scraps. I'm talking about everybody can have a rich, full life. But, you know, we've got the muskies of the world, and, you know, they're hoarding all the money, basically.
Right. They're going to take the little bits that we have to help and to live on ourselves.
Yep.
And they can't spend it all.
And not in 20 lifetimes, honestly.
No. But if you read the Bible, you know exactly what they're doing. You know exactly about the wolves in sheep's clothing, how people are going to be fooled. That's what it says. You know, it says that he gives us a free will. I don't have no control over you. He gives us a free will. According to Scripture.
That's the whole point of us being here, right?
That's right. Right, in America, right. So as long you're not hurting me, I'm not hurting you, what is it to you?
Yep.
You know, as long as I give you the love that he says I'm supposed to give you.
Yep.
Then we'll be all right.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Terry.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for the call. That made my day. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one, okay?
Yes, keep that nose from being red.
I was rushing, girl. I was rushing. I'm surprised my whole face wasn't red and my neck and everything. Thank you for noticing my nose.
All right, hon. Love you all.
Love you too. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Before we take another call, I know we're running on time. I want to mention something that she just said about the media. I think that they're complicit in all of this. What do you think, Henry?
No, absolutely. I don't disagree. I think they kind of set things up back in the day in 2016, and we're kind of here as a result a little bit. And even before 2016,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a call. Ken, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. It's been very interesting. I just tuned in not too long ago, so I just wanted to say one thing about the word privilege, which seems to be being used over and over again by people in the administration and trying to convince us that I think they're ready to say being human is a privilege, not a right. They're taking all these rights and calling them privileges. It's very seems very deliberate, and it's very dangerous. And so we have to resist accepting that word.
So give me an example of what they're saying is a privilege.
The students who come here on student visas to study, and Marco Rubio made a big point of saying it's a privilege to come study. It doesn't mean you get to say bad things about our government. So we can send you away because it's not a right; it's a privilege. It's
meaning we can take it away from you. Basically,
yes, right. Yes, that is the big difference, is that privileges can be revoked by people in power, and so it enhances their power to call everything a privilege. They could say it's a privilege to have clean water and air. It's a privilege to be able to vote. Those are not privileges, those are rights.
Well, come on, the other word they use, what? Entitlements?
Yes, exactly.
And that's not true, right?
No, right.
It's our money.
Like Social Security. Social Security is a gift from rich people. No, it's our money.
It's our money. It's our money. Yep. Ken, we're running close on time.
Let me get that out.
I'm so glad you did. I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, okay.
Have a good day, Ken.
For hosting. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day. Do we have time for one more? Yeah. Okay, let's, Leo from South Carolina.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to echo what somebody else was saying, that they don't think Trump's going to give up power. I'm in law enforcement. I've been trying to quell people's fears, saying that the stuff that Trump wants to do, he can't do because it's illegal. Well, that hasn't stopped him from doing it.
Right.
So I have, as nervous as I have been wrong about pretty much everything. I just, assuming he allows a free and fair election, which, dare I say, we haven't had since 2000. The Democrats have got to prosecute. Like, no more of this in the interest of unity. We need to let all the crimes go. Like, that hasn't worked since the Confederacy, and we have to let that go. But I can't imagine Pam Bondi, John Roberts, like the Supreme Court justices, all these people are ceding their power and just turning a blind eye to blatant illegality. And I feel like the way they're doing things, they know they can't go back.
You know what? We're not, you and I, Leo, are not here to scare our listeners this morning, but this is how wrong I was. I did not think, I believed in my heart that man was not going to win. I couldn't see how it was possible.
Me too. I'm with you.
And now here we are, and it's a hot mess. And listen, it's scary. It's very scary because
it is scary.
I'm not sure that we're going to vote. People are talking about 28. I don't know about 26. I don't know.
Well, I've got a friend in the military who says that he sees on like Reddit and places where right wingers go that as soon as they end this investigation into I forgot which investigation. Basically, April 20th is supposed to be some kind of a January 6th moment again.
Oh. What are they storming this time? They have the Capitol. What are they going to do?
Well, I don't think it's going to be storming so much as it's going to be just martial law.
Oh, so I see.
There's another theory that 420 is Hitler's birthday, so that would be a marker. But I think that so Trump knows that Zelensky hasn't had an election because he's been in a wartime. So I think he would be willing to start a war to implement martial law. And I think if Trump has shown anything, it's that nothing is off the table.
This is true.
So what I do fear is, one, we need to try to be peaceful to not give him an excuse for his martial law moment, but we also have to be prepared. Because I personally, and again, you're right. I'm not trying to stoke fear. That's not what I want. But I do, we also need to think, do we want our government back the way we had it? Do we want a government by and for the people? If so, we may have to accomplish that the same way we did the first time.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, Leo.
Because I am afraid he's not going to let it go back any other way.
And
I think the GOP has too much to lose.
I agree. On that note, Leo, I'm going to let you go.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Have a great day. Thank you for calling. I think we should, should we go to some news? We'll be right back. Naomi, don't hang up.
It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's none other than the one and only Michelle Peltier.
Listen to that, Devin. Wow. Can you play that again? No, I'm kidding. Welcome back, everybody. 773-763-9278. Catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter stream. I've been saying it, and then I had you do it. And I just realized I've been reading Twitter. I mean, oh, my gosh. Sometimes my mind. Anyway, listen to us. Right now on the Choose Views Featured Interviews podcast, you can find Richard's recent interviews with Democratic strategist Mike Nellis, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates, Christian Crowell of Fair Share America, Chicago historian and educator Michelle Duster, and much more. Both the Featured Interviews podcast and the Choose Views full episodes podcast are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon. Search for Choose Views or get the links on Richard's show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on Richard's picture. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, Kurt, hold on. I'm going to take one call, and then I'll get to you, okay? Let's go with Naomi. Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. I was listening to the prior caller about the entitlements.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to point out that, yes, those we paid into, but even all of the programs that they're messing around with are also programs that we paid for.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we need to eliminate that word, period.
Well, we will, but they won't. They're the only ones using it.
Well, we don't have, yes. Yeah, yes, that's right. We need to. Yeah. And also, people were talking, the prior caller was talking about how things were and we wanted to go back. I don't want it to go back to the way it was. I want it to be better.
Better, yep.
Yeah, and I think we need to think about...
It needs to be different, actually, a little different.
Yes, better, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need to think about how we want to organize society so it doesn't degrade into what it became.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at maybe the way some African societies are structured, maybe, and the native people here structured their societies before we messed around with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
As models, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you don't have to reinvent everything all over again.
Well, we are a unique beast, this country, our country.
Yeah.
So we got to tailor it to fit everybody, right? Not just the few.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Naomi, thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
Have
Bye.
a great day, okay? All right. So I'm excited to talk to Kurt Mullett, a regular visitor to this show. He's part of the program. I listen to Kurt, too, when he's on with Richard. He's a lifelong Democrat and a fierce advocate for women's rights. Thank you, Kurt. Pro-LGBT and civil rights. And he's a music and a history buff. So let's go, Kurt.
I'm a white boy from Indiana.
That's right.
From Indiana.
That's right, Kurt. I was going to ask you what's the temperature
or a white
there.
Old man, I should say.
No, you don't look like it on your videos.
30-something.
You don't look like you're an old man.
I'm 61.
That's not
I'm
old.
61.
I'm older than you.
Well, you don't look it.
Well, yeah, well, that's.
Go on.
Thank you. Anyway, what's going on in Indiana, Kurt?
Oh, the same old thing. It's a red state that we got a bunch of crazies in charge who, are ruining our state even more and more, just like the country. So, how's it going with you?
Life is good. I don't have any complaints, but I wanted to ask you about your Mr. Senator Mr. Banks, did he receive any kind of backlash after that elevator horror?
Oh, he's received tons of backlash, but he's defending what he said. So,
and how is he defending it? What?
Just by saying he didn't step out of line. He didn't say anything out of line, I should say. That he's sure that the individual deserved to be fired because many of them are not doing their job. He's even changed his profile picture on his accounts. His profile picture is now that last second before the elevator doors closed all the way.
I thought that was a joke. That's real?
No, that's his profile picture now. So that's how he's handling it. They think it's funny that this is what's happening. So, you know.
We are being ruled by the schoolyard bully, I tell you.
Oh, yeah. We also have our Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, who I don't know if you're familiar with him that much, but he's the one that referred to everyone as Jezebels. Anyway, him and our Attorney General Morales bought themselves luxury SUVs.
Kurt.
Yeah.
I need to. And maybe everybody else has heard this story before. Jezebels. And what was happening that caused him to make such a statement?
Well, he was giving one of his. He created a video talking about the movement of Jesus Christ and the Christianity, whatever you want to call it, the nationalism, whatever, the Christian nationalism. He was talking about how that needs to be installed into everyone's lives, and this is where we had to govern and all these, and this needs to be listen to all of these Jezebel type spirits need to listen to this because this is what direction we need to go. God spoke to him the day after January 6th and told Micah that he sent those people to the Capitol because to do away with the demons. I mean, this guy's a nutcase.
And that's your lieutenant governor?
That's our lieutenant governor, who him and our Morales bought Attorney General Morales, not Attorney General, Secretary of State Morales bought luxury SUVs on taxpayer money, $88,000, and they became they were inundated with criticism about this. So what did Beckwith do? He turned that in and he bought a Cybertruck. So
wow.
He's now got a Cybertruck. Yeah. So Indiana is a crazy state. People that don't live here and are not familiar with it, they have no idea. But Indiana is we're the leader when it comes to implementing Project 2025 agenda and just the crazy Christian nationalists that are trying to take over our country. So
when I first moved here many years ago, over 20 years ago, I used to go to Indiana for this contract that I had, and I'm telling you, I had no idea. Was it that bad 20 years ago? I didn't feel like it was. It didn't to me.
Well, it started around 2000. That started to get worse, and then once they we've had Republican control in our state, trifecta control, 16 out of the last 20 years. So when it first started, then the gerrymandering took place. And by the way, most of this was done under Michael Pence. So when I see him getting awards, and it makes my skin crawl because we know who he is.
Oh yeah, we
more
really
so
do.
than the nation. And a lot of Chicagoans. I worked at a college. I worked up in Northwest Indiana. I worked in East Chicago and Gary and Michigan City for Goodyear Tire and Railroad Company. And Northwest Indiana is not Indiana. That's Northwest Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Come down where I live.
And are you like in the boot heel or something, as we say?
Oh, I'm rural. We have 30,000 people in my county. I'm rural Indiana. I'm kind of between. I don't know if you know where Highway 31 of Peru is. We're between Fort Wayne and Peru. I'm over in that area.
Okay.
Kind of in the heart area of the state.
Uh-huh.
Our district rep won by 81%. She got 81% of the vote, Republican, in the last election. So that's where I live. We don't have Republican representation in our county. We have like 26 elected seats, and we have 3 Democrats in their clerk positions. They're not actually people with any kind of a voice whatsoever. So, yeah, that's where I live. So
I'm going to ask you a question, another one, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a question that Eric Grant often asks people. Why aren't you running for something, or have you, or are you going to?
Well, no, I don't have intentions to. I have been someone who was really not involved in politics much my whole life. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. That's just who I was. I had a lot of other things going on in my life. I wasn't a fan of politicians. I grew up in a very liberal family. I'm one of 8 kids. I'm number 7. So I had siblings that grew up in the 60s and were part of the movement. And, I had a sister that lived in the Haight-Ashbury district in San Francisco. I mean, I have, been exposed to a lot of this. So I don't want to say we were anti-government, but we were very much against it. So we just didn't become involved that much in it. But when he came down the escalator, that kind of changed my whole,
Oh, is that what ignited you?
view on things. Yeah, because I was exposed to him in the 90s through, I used to watch Howard Stern late at night, and I was exposed to him one night on Howard Stern. And
was it when he was talking about his daughter in such a filthy way?
Well, I didn't see that episode because I saw one that he was on there previous to that where he was, talking his stuff. So I got to watch what I say because I always make Henry nervous when I come by. He's got his finger near the button, like Richard always says. So, but anyway, it kind of changed there. So that's when I became politically involved, and I had some personal things happen to me in the early 90s when my daughter was born. That I've always been an advocate of women. I believe strong men are created by strong women and have strong women in their life. And I was fortunate to have a wonderful mother, and I think that's one of the issues that so many of these weak MAGA-type narcissists have missing in their lives. They just have never had it. So I've always been strong that way. I have 2 sisters still alive, but I had 4 beautiful sisters that I was very close to. So, I was fortunate for my upbringing, but I became politically involved when he came down the escalator, So that's just, I've never been, biased towards anyone. I've always been accepted. It didn't matter what color of skin you had or the color of your hair or, who you loved or anything like that. I mean, I think we're all human beings, and that's the element that's, been missing. I mean, I was raised in the Catholic Church. I'm not a practicing Christian anymore. I walked away from the church years ago, but, so I'm very familiar with the teachings of Jesus. And Jesus was a brown guy who was the king of wokeism. So if he was around today, they'd deport him and throw him in an El Salvadorian prison.
If you even get that far.
Yeah, if he'd even get that far. I mean, he would absolutely be considered a radical, and that's what blows me away with these fake.
Yeah.
I don't even like calling them Christians. They're nationalists. That's who they are.
They're just evil.
They are.
Just cut out all that stuff. They're just evil people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know how they sleep at night, but I guess if you're evil, you hanging by your feet. I don't know.
Just make sure you got garlic around your neck when you're around them.
Right. So, Kurt, I have another question for you.
Unbelievable.
I have another question for you. So, since you're not going to run for office, and you're passionate.
Yeah.
I know that you're everywhere digitally. What are you doing besides your shows?
I'm very active on social media. I try to spread the word out and get all information that I can out there. I like to talk about many different topics, and I try to keep updated on everything that's happening. And I do not watch network news. I have not turned on network news since, I turned it on a little bit on election night because I just wanted to see the results, but I soon turned it off because I could see how they were going, the direction they were going. But I haven't turned it on since last June. I don't watch it. So I get my information from many different sources, and that's what I think people need to do. You don't believe what you first read. You read it, and then you double-check it because there are many ways to do that. So,
yeah.
But I'm active in the protest, and I heard some discussion about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't participated in a protest, I strongly suggest that you do that. It is something that is very uplifting, and it gives you much encouragement. You see other people that are standing beside you that are fighting for the same thing, and multiple facets of people. I look at the protests that took place in Chicago this past weekend. I was blown away by the numbers. It was unbelievable.
It's always beautiful to me. It
was a beautiful sight. So I've been participating in those. I participated in the town hall. I try to find little coffee meetings that, like I traveled to 2 counties away a couple weekends ago and sat in on a coffee meeting with about 20 people just discussing things.
Good.
And so those are the type of things that I'm doing this next coming protest on the 19th. I'm going to be participating in that one. So those are the kind of things that I do, but basically just talking to people and trying to get involved in any way I can. There's so many things that you can do. You don't have to make big signs and go to protests. You can just create information text with people in your phone, or you can send out emails, share stories that you see, or read interesting articles that you can share. It's just like Representative I think her name's Miller from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Heartland Signal put out the clip actually of it where she talked about how voting was a privilege. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to make a reel about it and put it on my social media. This is what these people do. Of course, she's been surrounded by controversy for a long time. She said some stupid things in the past, but so those are the kind of things that I do. Just basically, I try to stay positive and give people hope, because that's without democracy, what do we have? We can't let this just go away, and that's what they want us to do.
Yeah. Well, I asked you the question specifically just so that people could get ideas from you about what they can do, because I think a lot of us are still in shock and still wanting to do something, but we don't know what it is that we can do to affect change. That's the issue, right? We want to do something that's going to make a difference. What does that look like? Where do we go? Who do we talk to? Who do we call? Who do we write? And will it matter? I think that that's the main thing that I personally feel. I'm not saying not do it, because I'm an activist. I'm telling you. And I'm just hoping that all the work that we're all putting in, especially people like you, Kurt, because, you're out in the world. Like you said, you're going to meetings, you're talking to people. That's what we need to do, but I just hope it makes a difference. I'm not sure, actually, but I hope it will.
Yeah, I think that question is in all of our minds.
Yeah.
Is it actually making a difference? And you may not, you may not think necessarily that you might not be doing enough, but you're doing plenty. What you're doing and how you participate is has huge effects on people, and you see that as the callers that you're receiving this morning, and it was. I was listening to you because your first couple callers were women. I was like, okay, what am I going to walk into? But I love it. I love the fact that
Don't be scared.
You give. No, I'm not. I think you give people that comfort to where they can call in and say, listen, and share their thoughts with you and be able just to talk in a normal tone. And I think that's wonderful. So whether or not you think you're having an impact, no matter what you're doing, you are having an impact. And I think that's what people need to realize, regardless of what it is, no matter if it's making a phone call to a senator or sending an email or a postcard. And I know a lot of people aren't on social media, so they're not aware of a lot of these things. But, just reading news articles, there's a lot of people you could get newsletters from on a daily basis.
I know, on Substack.
From.
Mm-hmm.
On Substack, or just regular, Heather Cox Richardson, Tom Hartman, Robert Wright.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that you can actually go and sign up for their newsletters, and you can get their newsletters on a daily basis, and then you can read them and get information that way.
Yeah.
And if you just see some little quote or something within one of those articles that strikes you or that sits with you, take that little quote and go to your phone, pick 10 people, and send that to them. That's all you have to do.
I think
those
that's
are
perfect.
the kind of things. The little things that people do are the ones that have the biggest impact, I feel. So,
and listen, let me just
that's just my view.
I agree with you, but let me just say that I know that I sound pessimistic, but I don't want people to stop doing what they're doing, right? It all matters, right? I don't want, if people are feeling like me, feeling like a little sad and just whatever, I don't think that should stop us from doing something. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us feel like it might be for naught, but maybe not, which is why we should do it. So I just, yeah.
Right.
We need more Kurt's in the world.
We need more Michelles. We need more all of us. I mean, that's the.
If you knew me, you wouldn't say it.
I don't know. I've seen. Is that a green fuzzy mitt you have, or is that a bottle cooler that I've seen you have before? Or looks like you're holding.
Right now?
Oh, no, not right now. I've seen it in the past. I don't know if you have it right now or not. I didn't see anything live this morning. I've seen you on the family meeting before where you've had this. It looks like you're holding the Grinch around a drinking bottle or something. It's a great big green fuzzy thing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So you might have only had it one time. That was the only time I saw
a green fuzzy thing. That's interesting.
Yeah, looks like you're holding the Grinch.
Oh,
I think it was cold out.
That was I did. No. I did have a Grinch costume on. I had the Grinch gloves, and the Grinch hat. Yes, I did. Okay. Because I don't do Christmas, so I'm a Grinch, so I wear Grinch stuff. I feel judgment, Henry. I feel judgment. I do. I got outfits for all of it.
Okay.
Okay, Kurt, I think that we are...
I knew what that was.
Yeah, that's what you saw. I was the Grinch, honey. Yes, I had it all on. I have a little hat, too, but I didn't wear it.
Well, hey, I've enjoyed this morning. I love being able to meet and talk to new people. And, you're in my world now. So,
yes, you'll never be rid of me.
Yours, so...
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So, unless Richard tells me otherwise. But,
right.
But hey, thank you so much. I appreciate talking to you.
Thank you,
Kurt.
I
wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Next 3 days. And
yes, I
know
need
you're going to do a bang-up job.
Say some prayers.
You'll be fine.
Keep up the good fight, Kurt. Thank you for calling.
We will. Yeah, have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. We're going to take a break now? Yes. Okay, we'll be right back.
It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820 AM. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's Michelle Peltier.
Welcome back. 773-763-9278. I can hear myself. 9278. You can catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter Stream, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. I am really looking forward to having a conversation with our next guest, the executive director from One AIM, Illinois, Miss Yolanda Androzo. Yolanda?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You got it right. Yes, on the first time, yes, Yolanda Androzo. You got it.
Ooh, thank you so much. It's a pet peeve of mine because people mispronounce my last name all the time. So I do my due diligence, I think, to pronounce everybody else's name correctly. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about you and One AIM, and let's get some updates about all that legislation and everything.
Oh, yes. Well, One AIM Illinois we're a Black-led nonprofit organization leading the state's largest grassroots coalition working to protect families and communities from firearm violence. And we've been around since 1994, and we have over 250 members. So we're always looking for communities, organizations, individuals to join us in our One AIM, which is to end gun violence. Right now we're working on a bill. It's called Safe at Home, which is a life-saving piece of legislation that is all about responsible gun ownership and preventing tragedies and injuries.
Yeah. What do you think about the gun buyback program?
I think it's a good program, honestly. I feel as though many individuals don't perhaps turn in their weapons because of fear, right? But if there's a buyback program that ensures that there's no retaliation, yes, please return your guns.
Yeah.
Safe at Home is a policy that we're working on right now. The last time I was on your show, I had an opportunity to talk about Karina's bill, which we passed last session. But right now, Safe at Home just recently passed through the Senate Executive Committee, and it's making its way to the Senate floor, where it awaits a final vote for passage through the Senate.
Is that the 3688?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And guns can lead to injury, disability, and even death if they're not stored properly at home. So, this policy is really key to saving lives. And it ensures that people who choose to own a firearm are responsible owners by ensuring safe firearm storage. And that means storing them locked, unloaded, and separate from ammunition.
So did you help write this bill? Did your organization help with the drafting of it, or how were you involved directly?
Well, we have a sister organization called GPAC, which works to draft the policies. And we draft that in collaboration with coalition members, with legislators. And then, of course, that bill, the writing of it goes through a draft and honing the draft and working with even law enforcement, just different stakeholders to ensure that it's an effective policy. So the bill includes two major policies: that safe storage of firearms in homes where a child, person in crisis, or someone prohibited from owning a gun could access them, and then stronger reporting requirements for lost and stolen firearms. So that's shortening the deadline to report from 72 to 48 hours, yet increasing accountability.
Do we have that many lost? I'm sure stolen, but how do you lose a gun?
Well, it can happen in a car. You leave your car unlocked and the firearm is there.
Stolen.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, people, can, if someone comes into your home and you don't know, and it could be someone that you know or you don't know, removes that firearm without you being aware of it, and then you recognize that it's been stolen, right, or lost, and, you don't report it. So it's really important to do that. And so this policy shortens that deadline from reporting lost and stolen firearms from 72 to 48 hours. Yeah. And, the bill certainly will save lives. I just want to share a few stats. So unintentional shootings by children dropped from 78% in states with secure storage laws, and illegal gun movement is down 46% in states where strong lost and stolen reporting laws exist.
Yolanda, say that first one again, would you? Slowly.
Sure. So unintentional shootings by children drop 78% in states with secure storage laws.
I hope everybody heard that, because that's important. Yeah. That's huge.
It's huge, and it prevents tragedies like, the unfortunate family of Josiah Hooker. And just a few weeks ago, 8-year-old Josiah Hooker died, and his 5-year-old brother was injured when police say they accessed a gun that was left unattended in their home. So, and the tragedies like these are all too common, but they're preventable. Yeah. And, it's our job, especially when you own a firearm, to keep accidents like these from happening again and again. And I can only, I can't even imagine the trauma that this family is going through. But it's one in many that we see, not only in Illinois, but across the country, when firearms are not secured and when they're not stored properly.
Yeah. Wow. So sad. Okay, you can finish the other stats. I'm sorry. I just wanted to, because that was so powerful to me, for me.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's, it is. And, unfortunately, an estimated 82% of adolescent firearm suicides involve a gun belonging to a family member. Wow. Yeah. I worked with a survivor who lost her brother to gun violence. He was having suicidal tendencies, and that firearm was left in their home when she was a teenager as well. And that brother accessed the firearm and took his own life. So this is also something to think about. When you don't store a firearm properly, a young person can access it and not only harm themselves, but someone else.
Yeah. It's all so sad. So what else are you guys working on?
Well, this is one of our main policies. We are working on another policy called the Homicide Data Transparency Act, the Homicide Data Transparency Bill, which requires homicide data, whether someone is injured due to a firearm or someone is, there's a homicide due to a firearm, that those stats are reported consistently across Illinois. So,
So are you saying that they're not adequately reported or accurately reported?
Correct. In both cases.
Really?
It's not. You would think that this, especially in Illinois and across Chicago, where there is so much gun violence, that this would be the case. But it's not. Some jurisdictions do and some don't. There's no kind of commonplace that all that data is gathered and then also shared with communities. So we'll see. This policy is also, we're hoping to pass it this session. And we're going to be going down to Springfield with our coalition, with the public. So even if you're not involved with One Aim at this point, please join us. We're going to Springfield on May 20th for Advocacy Day to promote safe at home and other policies that we're advocating for. And you can just go on our website, oneaimil.org. That's ONEAIMIL.org. And you can sign up to learn not only more about the policies we're advocating for, but to join our Survivors Council. If you or someone has been a victim of gun violence, and participate in many of our digital advocacy actions if we can't do them in person.
You led right into my question was, what can we do? And you just told everybody what we could do. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like, I know for me and many of the survivors who I work with who've lost not only one loved one to gun violence, but two, is that it's a problem that will never be solved, and it's too big of something to advocate for and prevent. But it is possible, and we've found that through passing not only policies that are designed to prevent gun violence, but working on those root causes that lead to it, that we can do this together.
Yeah.
So please, what we can do, and what I'm asking your listeners to do right now is to sign up for our coalition to become involved in this cause, and to make a difference, to advocate for policies to prevent gun violence. To participate in digital actions, to volunteer for One Aim Illinois, and to support survivors who are experiencing the trauma due to it. So, you can go to our website, oneaimil.org, and link in the link. There's a link in our bio and our Instagram page to sign up for our monthly coalition meetings. They're virtual, as well as to participate in our days of action. And, if you're an organization out there that would like to or individual that would like to join our movement, like Giffords, Brady, Amnesty International, Brave Youth Group, Illinois Now, Chicago Survivors, Tommy Lee Foundation, and so many others, the Jewish Congregation, please join us. Go on our website and, participate in the cause.
That is so excellent. I love that all of those groups are coming together. So you're not limited to just Illinoisans. I mean, that's where you are and that's where your focus is, but anybody can be a member, and because you have your meetings virtually, or?
Yes, we have our meetings virtually. So we do have people from across the country that come on our virtual coalition calls to learn.
Nice.
We do have national organizations that support our movement, such as Giffords and Illinois Now and Chicago Survivors. But if we also have churches that are involved, law enforcement. So anyone can come on and learn. But
nice.
We also need donations, like any movement.
Ask for the money.
Any amount can help. Ask for the money. So you can go on and donate $5, $10, anything will help.
It all helps, right? It's $1 more or $5 more than you had before, right? So I believe in the little donations because they add up, right?
They do. Oh, they do. Mm-hmm. Most of our donations come in through individuals supporting the movement. And those dollars go in to support, for example, our Survivors Council, where we meet quarterly to provide safe spaces for survivors of gun violence to receive the mental health support and to participate in sometimes arts for healing activities. Like we just, we went to Firebird Arts Community. We had a workshop there, and our survivors participated in a glass blowing and making workshop. We've done painting activities. We're going to be doing a candle making activity. And then we have advocacy training as well.
Very nice. Very nice. I mean, and I was reading about it, and I've heard you on the show before, but I retain better when I read it, and so I, printed your last newsletter out, and I'm just thoroughly impressed by. It looks like you've put a lot of work into, the statistics and to your outreach, and it's very impressive. I'm going to even get involved in a small way. I'm not sure. I have a real good friend. She's one of my best friends who lost a son to gun violence. So it's something that I, unfortunately, am familiar with, like many of us in the country, right?
Yes. If a person hasn't been impacted directly by losing a loved one to gun violence, I found that it may be one person away. Mm-hmm. Whenever I do an event, someone will come up and say, well, what are you doing with this group? And I talk about our cause, preventing gun violence, and they will tell me their story. That often they haven't had an opportunity to share with anyone, or it's kept bottled up inside. There's usually 5-10 people who will come up and express the pain and trauma that they felt due to losing a loved one. So, please, let your friend know about our Survivors Council. They can go on our website, oneaimil.org, and sign up just to get information or to attend one of our events.
I'm as soon as I leave here, I'm calling her for sure. For sure, we'll both probably do something, because this is important. And there's so many people walking around with that pain, that loss, and like you said, I think that there's some shame in it. There shouldn't be, but I think that people don't want to talk about it because the fact that someone that you loved was killed in such a manner, it's hard to even talk about.
Yes, it's hard to talk about, and there's not many supports out there. Or even if you're watching television, you might see something about a shooting, a news story about a shooting, but you may not hear where you can go to get the support that you need to address the trauma. And the survivors that I work with, they've shared, I'm sure your friends as well, it's an ongoing trauma.
Never ends.
Something that, never ends. And you often don't think about it until it affects you personally. But that's why I have so much admiration and respect for the survivors that we advocate with, because they're advocating to prevent gun violence so that it doesn't happen to someone else.
Yes, yeah. Yep. God bless those people, I tell you. Well, Yolanda, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to meet you. I hope to meet you in person.
Well, yes, I'd love to meet you in person as well. And I will have my team contact yours, because there's so many ways. I'd love you to come on and just talk about your work, because what you do is so important to bringing not only people like me on your show, but others to talk about the great work that's happening out there to prevent trauma and to enhance safety. So thank you so much for having me on.
Well, we can both thank Mr. Richard Chu, because, he found you. And me both. So, we owe him a big thank you today.
We sure do. Sure. We love some too.
Yes,
love Richard
we do.
too.
Yes. All right, Yolanda, you have a great day and good rest of the week, okay?
I will. You too.
And you and I are going to connect. Don't. I'm not kidding about that.
Okay, I'm not either. Okay. I'm not either. I will be getting your contact information directly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Henry. So should we play my last clip?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I forgot what it's about.
Do you remember where Trump got the tariff thing from in the first place? Do you remember when and why and how we started talking about tariffs in the first place? It was in his first campaign for president. Trump didn't really have any formal economic advisors. So he told his son-in-law, Jared, to find him an economic advisor. Trump reportedly gave Jared some vague ideas of what his thoughts were on economic issues. Something, make me look tough, China bad, something. Jared then decided to find his father-in-law a financial advisor for his presidential campaign by going on the Amazon.com website and starting to browse books. Not like reading the books, because you can't do that on the Amazon website. He was just looking at the covers, looking at the titles. And he found a book title that he thought was so cool. The title was Death by China. Oh, my God, that's so cool. That's so awesome. And that apparently was it. Quote from Vanity Fair. Trump gave Jared a summary of his views and then asked him to do some research. Kushner simply went on Amazon, where he was struck by the title of one book, Death by China, co-authored by a man named Peter Navarro. Jared then cold called Navarro, a well-known trade deficit hawk who agreed to join the team as an economic advisor. Navarro was a major advocate for an aggressive pro-tariff policy. Where did Peter Navarro get his idea that tariffs would be a good policy for America? What was his, backup for that conviction? Well, he did have backup from a real expert who he cited in at least a half dozen of his books, including the one that Jared found on Amazon, That Fateful Day. In all of his books, Peter Navarro has cited an economics expert to justify his views. And the economics expert he cites is somebody named Ron Vera, V-A-R-A, Ron Vera. When Trump won the presidency and entered the White House, this Ron Vera started circulating a memo around Washington in support of Trump using tariffs in trade policy. According to the New York Times, the memo had been, quote, sent from an email address purportedly belonging to Ron Vera. At one point, Ron Vera wrote in the memo that Trump could, quote, ride the tariffs to victory. The problem is Ron Vera doesn't exist. He never has. The economics expert that Peter Navarro has long cited to explain why he's so gung-ho on tariffs, this person, Ron Vera, is a made-up person. He is a fictional person. Peter Navarro invented Ron Vera as his expert source so he could quote this expert source over and over and over again in his crackpot books. Who is Ron Vera? Ron Vera is an anagram of Navarro, which is his last name. I mean, my name anagrams to Macho Waddler, but I don't see myself trying to talk you into doing what Macho Waddler wants, right? But that really is how the Trump administration crafted its tariff policy. That's where Trump came up with the tariff idea. Circulating a fake memo from a fake person with a fake email address in order to make it look like this was a serious issue being debated by real experts. That is the intellectual basis on which Donald Trump today wiped $6 trillion of wealth out of existence and crashed America's markets and brought America and the world to the brink of a self-inflicted, on-purpose, global Great Depression along the lines of what we had in 2008 and what the pandemic inflicted upon us in 2020. This time, the global disaster is Donald Trump's big brain.
Oh, Henry, let me ask you a question. And didn't Donald Trump have an alias as well?
Oh, yeah. Like when he would call into
Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I mean,
I guess. I don't know. People are just afraid to put their name to their opinions, I guess.
And there's a reason why. Mm-hmm. Because they're insane. Mm-hmm. That's why. Oh, my gosh. I mean, did you guys really listen to that? I mean, he looked at the book titles. He didn't read any of the books. I think that's another thing that's really sticking in my craw is these people aren't even smart.
No.
I mean, I'm not talking books. I mean, they're not book smart. They don't have common sense. They're not smart at all about anything.
You can't even read a book.
Thank you. All right. Oh my gosh. I can't see. This is one reason why I stopped watching the news. I don't watch it either. Because, I mean, I watch the stuff on social media, read what I can. But the more you dive into it, the angrier it makes me. I don't know what it does to everybody else. Because I'm insulted by this administration. Because come on now. They have degrees, but, I mean, come on, did Trump really write his own papers? The man can barely read. Don't get me started. I'm getting ready to go. Is it 5 o'clock somewhere? All right, people. As we get ready to wrap up today, thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate that you're here and you hung around for 2 hours or 1 hour or 30 minutes. But so don't forget to visit Choose Views page to get the rundown on what guests are joining me on the show this week, because I have guests for both days that I'm very excited about. You can listen on demand to recent interviews and full episodes of the show. Find and subscribe to links and Richard's full episodes. Make sure you stay tuned to WCPT for the rest of the day. Thank you for hanging around. As I've mentioned several times, just so that you can be prepared when you turn on your device, whatever that is tomorrow, that you won't be shocked that it's still not Richard. So I'll be back tomorrow on Friday. Always a big thank you to Richard Chu for allowing me this privilege. This is a privilege. Okay, let's talk about privileges. This is one of them. And always thanks to Eric Grant, the host of the Family Meeting Show, because without him, I wouldn't be here. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.